Okay, so today we will be working with Active Directory replication with site and services. What is this site and services? Let me come with one scenario. Okay, so this is our module where we will come to know Active Directory site and services replication. Okay, suppose you have some sites, maybe you have some organizations, or you can say some departments, maybe you have some branches. So maybe you have site A. In site A you have 3 servers, and you have site B 2 servers. Means here in Aqua you have 3 server, and maybe like Bonaprizo you have 2 servers. So from Aqua to Bonaprizo they are connected with the ISP link. They are not connected with your own cable. So whenever they are connected with slow link, ISP link, the replication, maybe you have done something, or maybe you applied some policies or some restrictions or some configuration. You don't think that immediately it will replicate to these servers, because it depends on the WAN slower link. So maybe suppose you have sites like this, maybe you have site 1 here and you have site 2 here. So in that condition they are connected with WAN IP, right? So in that condition, how they are going to replicate and how they are going to means how we are going to configure, we'll see everything here. Okay, so in this we need some requirements. So these are the list of requirements, that add 2 LAN card on both server. So we need 2 server. Okay, so we'll go one by one with the requirements. Okay, and it is very much important when you have additional domain controller in the branch, and they are connected with the WAN link with the ISP. Normally replication is there, but it's a default replication. It will replicate, but it depends on the WAN slower link. But you want faster application, and you need to configure, because in your system you must need to configure that replication. So come here, this is your DC1, this is your DC2. So now DC1 you need with Active Directory. So let's verify first. Here you can say IP config, your IP address is 100 it's okay. Then you type net query fsmo. This is your and if you want to use to verify Active Directory, so you have your Active Directory. Now suppose this is your branch which is in Yaoundé, sorry, in Douala, and this is, suppose, just take example in Yaoundé. So we are working with 2 LAN cards. So we have 2 LAN card, one is for your LAN and one is for your WAN. So first come here. So you have your one here, the LAN card. So right click here, rename it to LAN, close it. Then come to DC2, same thing, rename it to LAN in DC2 as well. And then come to DC1, right click, add additional LAN card. So here you have, there can click, come here, select network adapter, finish. Okay, so the DC1 is your headquarter server and DC2 is your branch server. So here also now what we can do, this is your DC1. In DC1 you have to come again to your and here you have to give WAN. Remove this IPv6, come here. Okay, and then you rename to WAN. Same as per our scenario. If you'll see our scenario here, see this is the WAN. So WAN will use this IP, in LAN we are going to use this IP. Okay. Okay. So same thing we have done on DC1. Now we'll come to DC2 for the same thing. We'll come here, click on add, come to network adapter, we added, click OK. Okay. Rename to WAN. Okay, now come here to DC1. Now the configuration of the WAN interface. So WAN interface, you have to come here, properties, remove IPv6, come to v4. IP is 12.1.1.1, DNS is 25, subnet mask is, and the default gateway is the DC2 address. Okay, okay. Okay, now come to DC2 for the same thing. LAN is okay. LAN, what you have to give here. Okay, first let's configure the WAN. Properties 12.1.1.2 255.255.255.252 12.1.1.1. Okay, and here in little bit we have to work on the LAN card, and it is very much important. See, DC1, you have to come here. This adapter is your LAN and this adapter is your WAN. So make this adapter VMnet 3. Okay, and this adapter make VMnet 1 on DC1. Come again, let's verify. The WAN is VMnet 1, the LAN is VMnet 3. Come here to DC2. So the LAN will be VMnet 2, not 3. 3 is for DC1. Okay, and WAN will be VMnet 1, same. Okay, now you have to come to DC1, open your CMD. You can, let's verify that whether you are pinging to that server or not, the DC2 server. It's not configured. You have to configure 12.1.1.1 255.255 12.1.1.2. this error, that was the notification for DNS. It's not important. See, so you're communicating to the WAN IP, but if I'm talking about 192, okay, let's come here to DC2. So DC2 LAN IP, so you give here 200.200, 200.200, and here is the DNS, the 100.100. And here if you come here to DC1, same thing here, you have to configure in the LAN. Okay, 192.168.200, the DNS, you have to put his DNS, wrap means cross DNS. See, this is your DNS, this is DC2 DNS, so same there in the DC2 I used. See here, if you will verify, come here, I have used DC1 DNS and my own DNS, and the default gateway I'll use my own WAN address, my own personal WAN address. So on DC2 I'm using my own personal WAN address, and in DC1 I'll use my own personal WAN address. And now if you'll come here and if you'll try to ping 192.168.200.200, see, you are not pinging. So first you have to create the communication, then you have to configure the sites. So for that you open your server manager, click on add roles and features. Okay, next. Oh, wait, system is slow little bit. Okay, DC1, come back. Okay, next here, next here you have to select remote desktop service, sorry, remote access. Okay, the system is slow, that's why it's creating problem. Come next, next, click on remote access. Okay, click next. Click next. You have to install here routing, because we need to make routing, that's why, because you have to communicate to your server which is in a different subnet, that's why. Click add features. next, 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 and install. So we are waiting for the installation of remote access service, routing and remote access service on DC1. Once the installation will be done, then we will install the same service on DC2. Okay. Okay. So close it here and then come to DC2. Same here also in DC2 you open server manager and then come here, click on add roles and features. Okay, so one thing we should do here, I think we should change the name. The name is different here. Let's change the name. DC2. Okay, so it will restart. After restart will come on this system and will configure routing and remote access. We'll install, then we'll configure. So let me pause the video for now because it will take some time. Okay, so now we'll come to DC2. So on DC2 we are going to install the same services. Next, here remote access. Next, next. We'll click on routing, click on add features. Next, next, and install. So we'll wait here till the installation runs, and once the installation will be done, we'll go to DC1 to configure, and once the configuration is done on DC1, then we'll come back to DC2 to configure this routing and remote access. Okay, so the installation is completed on DC2 as well. So now come back to DC1 to configure it. So password, we have to change the password. Okay, now click on tools. You have to open routing and remote access. Click on configure. Right click on DC1, click on configure and enable routing and remote access. Click next, then click on custom configuration. Next, click on LAN routing and finish. Start the service. Okay, so we are not working on IPv6, so click on IPv4 static route, right click new static route. Here you have to select WAN LAN card, and the destination address for DC2 is this one. To give the subnet mask, gateway, what I'm using here, I'm using gateway as a 2 because is the second means DC2 WAN IP. Okay, refresh it, then come here to DC2 as well. We have to come here to tools, routing and remote access, custom configuration, LAN routing, next, finish, start the service. Same IPv4 static route, new static route, select WAN, and now the DC1 LAN network address. And the default gateway means the DC1 WAN address. Refresh it. Now come to DC1, open your CMD. Now ping to 12.1.1.2. Yes, you're pinging to WAN, and now you see that you are able to ping to the LAN of DC2 200.200. You're pinging. Okay, so now the communication will start here. Now this is done. Now your main process will start. So you have to come here to tools. You have to open DNS. You have to verify your DNS is working fine. It's okay. DNS is also working fine here. It's okay. Okay. Now close it. Now come to DC2. You have to click add roles and features. Now here we are going to make a additional branch server on DC2. Click next, 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 and here we will select Active Directory Domain Services. Yes, and on the branch service you have to install DNS as well, because that will be in a different subnets and in a different location, so you need that one. Click next and install. Okay, then click on promote this server as a domain controller. Now we'll select this add a domain controller to an existing domain. So we'll click select, then we write here iiht/administrator and the password of IST DC1 IST domain. Select this one. Okay, so the credential, it must be like IST/slash administrator. If you'll get without IST only administrator, it will not work. So you make sure. If not, then you have to click here and you have to write like this IST/administrator and the password, then you have to click OK. So you must get IST administrator, not local administrator. Next. Now here you are getting few information that you need to find out. On this system, do you want to install DNS? Yes. Do you want to install global catalog server on this system? Yes. Why we need global catalog server? Global catalog server, you can say it's a yellow directory, means it will have the information about all the objects of the forest. So if you have a global catalog server here as well, so load balancing of the object sharing will be very fast. Now here is this read-only domain controller. Do you want this system as a read-only or read-write? So of course I want read-write, not read-only. But if you want, you can make it read-only. Now here, this is the directory service restore mode password, means when the active directory while recovering it will ask this password. Now here, to which server you want to replicate, so you have to select I want to replicate with dc1.ast.com. This is the default active directory database location. If you want, you can change it. And this is the information what we have configured till up to now, what we have selected. Click next and then click install and finish. So now it's verifying the prerequisites about the domain controller, means the selection what you have done, whether it is okay or not. So here it's checked that the all prerequisites checks and pass successfully. Click install to begin the installation. See, these are not errors, these are warning. So you need the updated server and all those things. So just click install. See, it's saying that replicating. You can see they're getting information from server and configuring DNS on this computer. Okay, automatically after installation it will ask for the restarting your server. So your DC2 will restart, and if you will come on DC1 to verify how the installation and everything. So if you will verify open Active Directory users and computer, you will come to domain controller. Now you will see there are two domain controller. One is DC1, which is the main branch server, and the DC2 is the second branch server. Now we have to work about the replication process. So now come to DC2, let's start. And see, always keep in mind, if you know the need of replication process, suppose you are on main branch and you configured something and you wanted those things to be on branch server, right? So if you have not configured the replication, so it will take default replication like 1 hour or something, it will replicate after that time. But when you want immediate response from DC1 to DC2 replication and DC2 to DC1 replication, okay, so then you need to configure Active Directory site and services replication, and by default it is after 15 minutes, right? Maximum timing is the 15 minute. They can replicate the data. Sometime depending on the speed and the network speed, yeah, internet speed, it takes time of your data replication, and it depends on the data also, what type of data you are replicating from DC1 to DC2, means from your main branch to your headquarter to your branch. So this is my headquarter server and this is my branch server. Now we have to configure DNS. Once the system will start after the installation of additional server. So this is my branch server. So we have to come here to our LAN IP, interface. Okay, it's okay, no problem here. Then we have to come to DNS. Forward is okay. Reverse is also replicated. Okay. DC2, DC1 is okay. Now what you have to do, here you have to create one more new zone. Not here, you can come to DC1. This is very important because sometime it creates problems, so better you configure this one. We have to create two zones. IST is okay, no problem. Here you have the DC1 and DC2 information, DC1 and DC2 information, right? But here in the reverse lookup zone, you have to create one new zone next. Primary, okay. And then the second subnet you have to add it here. 200 dots, that one. And that this second subnet you have to add the PTR for this. So for the second subnet, who is the boss? Let's see, DC2 is the boss for this one. Okay, that's it. Only this one is important. And verify the DNS cross binding, means DC1 will use DC2, DC2 will use DC1. Okay, fine, no problem. Now come here, open your DNS and say that the configuration what you have done here, that does it replicate it here or not. Refresh it. I think it should replicate it. If it is not replicating, no problem, you have to create it by your own. Because if you have two subnets, so you must have to replicate this two subnet information. Okay, it's okay now. See, 200.200 came, and for here is this one for DC. So the DNS work is okay. Now we are working with Active Directory. So now come here to open Active Directory users and computer on a branch system. So when you are here on a branch server and you want to create something, so let's create some branch department. Okay, in a branch department, I'm going to create one branch user one, branch user one. Next, let me create one group, branch group. Okay, so I see these things are, see, it's replicated, but now when I created a new one, okay, now refresh it. Now come here to DC1, open Active Directory users and computer. See, I created one branch department. See, it came here. Okay, now come here and come to this. Now create one new, what you can say, headquarter department. Okay, and now come here to this. I'm creating H1. Okay, okay, so now refresh it. Now if you come on DC2, see, I created H1. Now here is not there, but if you refresh, it will come here. See, headquarter department. So this is your normal replication, and it is fast because we are working on a virtualized system. But if it is on a WAN link connection and in a real company environment, at that time it will create problems. So what you have to configure, you have to configure Active Directory site and services for the replication process. So come to DC1, you have to click on tools, you have to go to Active Directory site and services. Okay, now come to sites. Okay, so now what you have to do, you have to right click on sites, you have to create one new site. So the new site is, maybe you can say it is Yaoundé. Okay, Yaoundé, and you have to select this default IP site link. I saying that you have to create a subnet for the, you have to configure the WAN subnet here for Yaoundé. It's okay, no problem. Now this, for this I'll rename it to like Douala. Now this DC2 is a part of Yaoundé, it's not part of Douala. So right click, move to Yaoundé. So I have moved to Yaoundé. Now see, it's here. Okay, so now what is saying here, see, DC1 is replicating to DC2, DC2 is replicating to DC1. Now you have to create subnet. So come here to subnet, right click, new subnet. Now, so I'm using 192.168.100.0/24 for Douala. Then again come to subnet, right click, on subnet, right click, new subnet. Same here, I'll write 192.168.200.0/24. I'm using for Yaoundé. So you created two subnets. Okay, after that you have to refresh it, and you have to come here, right click. Okay, all task, you know, I think wait, you have to come here to NTDS on DC1, right click, all task, check replication topology. See, replication is okay. You need to refresh the site. Okay, Now here also right click, all task, check replication topology, it's okay, no problem, replication is okay. Now come here to this, replicate now, and here also come and click on replicate now, and see you configured the replication on DC1. Now if you'll see here on DC2, when you come and open your Active Directory site and services, see everything has been replicated. Whatever you have configured, all the site and server information, everything is replicated. So this is the perfect replication of your server management. Okay. Okay. Now if you want to make if you want to do some changes in the application, that you come to NTDS properties. Okay, not here, wait, server I think. Okay, so you right click on DC1, you go to Douala, right click Douala, go to properties. Okay, it's okay. Now come to NTDS, this replication. So now come here, see it is automatic, but now if you come here and go to properties here, now you can come to change schedule, right? You have to come here and see what is saying that. Okay, so there is no replication on Sunday, no replication on this, but the replication here is like this, once per hour. But you want faster replication, what you have to do, you have to click here, 4-time replication per hour. You select all like this, select it, and then click on 4-time replication per hour, means 15 minute. After every 15 minute our server will replicate, but this replication you have to work as per the administrator will give you that, okay, whether the if you will make this replication, maybe your server can become slow. So most of the companies they do replication like 1 hour, after 4 hour, like that. But here we are doing for faster application, in the class we are doing 15 minute. Okay, so you have to saying that you have to do the same setting here as well. Right click properties, change schedule, you select it all. Okay, click apply. Okay, and now you will come to DC1, and when you will open this Active Directory site and services, you will see the setting has been replicated here as well. The setting anywhere, because if you do the setting there, it will replicate here, and if you do the setting, it will replicate here. Okay, so you have to come here, you have to make the same replication here as well. Okay, 4 time per hour, means after every 15 seconds. Okay, now what we can do, we just select the site and refresh it, and now close it, and now see how faster the application is. You open this, open Active Directory here, and open Active Directory here, close this. suppose I'm going to create one user here in the branch. So I want to create B2. Okay, and now refresh it. Now come here in B2 in branch. Now see if I'll come here, refresh. Okay, it will come. Now come here to this headquarter department, come here and create one headquarter 2 user. H2. And now we have two. Let's create one head group also here. Okay, select refresh and now come here. Now in, see if it is not coming. See, it will come after 15 because we have given the time maximum is 15 seconds. But if you want faster application, you have to open again that Active Directory site and services. And here you have to come. Okay, and here you have to right click, replicate now. Okay, and here also you have to right click and replicate now. So when you see that application is done, manual replication for faster, before 15 seconds you can, before 15 minutes. See, it's came here. And now if you'll come here to branch, see, this came here. That is the force that you have to do firstly if you want before 15 minute. Okay, but the default 15 minute, after 15 minute it will replicate. So anything where if you want to work on policy, if you want to do some settings, maybe I am here on DC1 and I want to apply the policy for B1 which is into branch. So if the replication is not configured, so it might take time. So if the replication is configured, after definitely after 15 minute the settings will be replicated to the client and client will work as the policy what you have configured from branch server. Okay, so this is very important to configure when you're working in the company. Okay, so this is all about Active Directory site and services replication process.